I'm Audra Yankton, empowerment and intuition coach, and this is Unveil You, the podcast where spirituality meets practicality to help you step fully into your power. Each episode, we'll talk about what it really means to align with your higher self, trust your inner knowing, and walk through life with grounded, soul-led confidence. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Unveil You podcast, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. She is someone whose energy is so beautiful and warm, and I've sincerely looked up to her now for a while in the spiritual space. So I'm really, truly honored to have her on the show today. I think this will be a special treat for you all. Her name is Indra Kelly, and Indra is an energy healer and intuitive guide who leads transformational programs focused on emotional release, intuitive awakening, and energetic alignment. So very in line with the stuff I'm already talking about on this podcast, so it's perfect. She helps clients clear what's been held in the body, whether past experiences, patterns, or emotional memories, so they can reconnect with their intuition and step into a more authentic, aligned version of themselves. She also teaches people how to reconnect with their intuitive abilities and learn how to feel what are called the clairs, which are just different ways intuition will communicate with us. So this episode is going to be part of a two-part episode because she just has so much wonderful insight that in this whole space that I didn't want to pack this into one very, very super long episode. So stay tuned for the next one after this. But specifically for this part one of the episode, we're going to be talking more about intuition, which is something that every single one of us has, yet many people don't trust. I've had a few episodes of this already in my podcast series, so this should sound pretty familiar to you all. But we're going to talk about why people disconnect from their intuition and how old patterns and beliefs can block it. And then finally, how we can start trusting ourselves again and utilize the different clairs, which is exciting if you've never tried to tap into those abilities before. So Indra, my long-winded explanation.
Hi.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and how you began doing this work of helping people reconnect to their intuition.
Okay. Hello. I love you so much. I was just kind of blown away. You're like, I admire her. I was like, no.
I totally do. The first time I ever met you, it was like one of those, like, who is this human? Like, just like this beautiful, beautiful energy.
Thank you so much. So I'm an energy healer, also psychic medium. We were just talking before the podcast. I feel also like an intuitive coach, life coach. And I also teach intuition. I find that I'm so fulfilled by everything that I do. It brings me such joy that just kind of like just reconfirms that I'm in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I'm like, practice what you preach, right? Mm-hmm. And so energy healing, gosh, I have been doing energy healing not knowingly for my entire life. I've always been intuitive. When I was younger, I would, as a child, I had, the imaginary best friend, as a lot of intuitive children do. And from that, I also was able to see spirit in the form of shadow. And not only could I see them, but I could hear them. So I would also talk to them. And that continued on until I was in my mid-20s. And around that time, being in an environment where no one really talked about intuition. That was not the community that I was in. My parents supported it. My parents were, intuitive in their own ways. My mom loved psychics. It's all, meditation, yoga, and my dad also has some intuitive abilities to him as well, but it wasn't really fully supported in that way where they were like teaching me and telling me about energy. So I would walk into a room and I would feel all the energy as a kid, and it was overwhelming, and it really it really affected friendships as a child. I had a really hard time connecting with other kids. I felt super different from everybody. I was feeling everybody's stuff. And on top of that, I was heavily bullied as a child. It was some of the worst years. It was really, really hard. And so moving on into my 20s, I protected myself in a way of, drinking and, partying and doing all the things. And then, panic and anxiety and depression started to come in. And they put me on Effexor and Klonopin, and I, I didn't feel good in my body. So I did a whole reset of who I am as a person. I realized that with my intuitive abilities, I was picking up on other people's energy. And also, I could do energy healing on myself. I could calm my body down just by calling in the energy, putting my hands on my body, on my heart, on my solar plexus, which is like your tummy area, or on my forehead, which is your third eye, and call in that energy and start allowing my nervous system to regulate and start healing myself the way that our bodies are innately able to heal, through energy and through that frequency. And so it was trial and error for a long time, and I was finding my own way and calling in the people that could help me. And so this journey went on for a long time. And I would honestly, to be totally honest, it wasn't maybe like, gosh, 10 or so years ago, is like when I really started to really get into it. And after that, it made so much sense. I started meeting the right people. I started to be fully informed and educated on what I do and how I do it. And it just opened up the floodgates, and everything just makes sense now. And so aside from energy healing, I am also a psychic medium where, when I connect and I'm working multidimensionally with my clients. So I'm connecting with their spirit team. I am going into past lives. I'm connecting with angels. I'm connecting with past loved ones. Some sessions are very busy, but I love it. There's so much beauty in this work. And then on top of all of it, I teach intuition, and that part I love because everybody is intuitive. We all have these intuitive senses. It's just part of our human tool belt. And at some point, we lost trust with our intuition, and that we buried it away, and we started outsourcing all of our answers and looking for the right, what do I do, what's the right thing to do, you tell me what the right thing to do. And this happens in your personal life, in your work life. It happens all over the place. So what I love to teach is that you come back to yourself, you come back to the wholeness, to the stillness, you come back and call in your energy, and that activates your intuition, and you start to really connect with yourself and with your energy, with your spirit team, and you can call in those answers. People get really in their head and overwhelmed, like they think that it's like a gift, like you have to be special to have.
Well, that's how pop culture displays it, right? Like, oh, only the chosen ones are psychic, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we all are.
Right. We all are. And but you're right. Society has said only the special ones. And also, I'm not going to, I can't even think of a name. But it's like you have also these psychic mediums and energy healers and all of these people who are like, I'm so special because I do this, and let me do this for you. And, it's like, and I'm sorry to tell you, but we can call in our energy. We don't, and also we are all intuitive. You just have to remember how to call it back in and trust it. And I love teaching people that so much because we all have it. We all have it. Has anyone ever you think about somebody and all of a sudden they call? Yes. So many times. Everybody, right? Everybody. Your dad, your uncle, your mom, your sister, everyone at some point was like, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. Mm-hmm. That's claircognizant. It's a clear sense of knowing. And that is what it is. Or when you walk in to a place and it's a party and you start to feel a little uneasy, maybe you get a little anxious, or maybe you feel a little sad. That's clairsentience. That's a clear sense of feeling. So you're walking into a place and you're experiencing somebody else's emotions that aren't yours.
Mm-hmm.
When your friend calls and she's sad about something or he's sad about something, and you're talking to them, and all of a sudden you start to pick up on these like emotions, it's like that's an intuitive sense.
Oh yeah. Like, have you ever had like a challenging conversation with somebody where they're just kind of word vomiting stuff on you and you walk away feeling just sick about it? Like, like you're like, why do I feel anxious? Nothing has happened to me. You know what I mean? But picking up on other people's stuff, it's like crazy.
It's crazy. And so, also, what was really important really is knowing what is yours and what is theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to say, okay, I just got off the phone with so-and-so. This is not my energy. Or maybe I saw so-and-so at lunch, and what I feel in my body is that's not mine. That was theirs. I carried with me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to release that and let that go. So I talk about this a lot, about calling in your energy, right? And clearing that energy that doesn't belong to you, and releasing it back into the universe, releasing back up to the heavens, releasing it back down to the earth. Whatever resonates with you, send that energy on its way, because it's not yours to carry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right?
One analogy that I really liked, I've heard one time, is that, yeah, sending the energy back that isn't serving you, knowing that like the universe can repurpose that into something better and greater. So
Oh gosh.
don't have any problems getting rid of that,
Right. I say I release this energy, and it goes back up to the heavens above to transmute into beautiful white loving light, because it does.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Well, that's amazing. And the early on when you were talking too about just kind of your growing up, like being an intuitive and not really realizing that, literally in real time, I'm like putting two and two together on my own side of like, wait, this literally sounds like my growing up story of just, I always had a hard time like kind of connecting with my peers. And yeah, I now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, you do kind of like carry a lot of stuff that isn't yours, or you're always feeling unsure of yourself because like sixth and seventh grade were like the worst years of my life. And I'm like, well, yeah, everybody is going through a lot. Then I was picking up on a lot constantly, like not being aware of your intuition at a young age is, it's hard, now that I think when you put it that way, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Cause yeah, I did. And, actually let me double click on when you said you were bullied in your childhood. I also was around that age, about an early teen. And what do you think, like, what's the correlation there? Like, why would an intuitive child kind of be more susceptible to something like that? Because I feel like I was really nice to everybody, and like that, I just wanted that back, and people were like, just rejected me. You know what I mean?
I don't know exactly. I think one, we're empaths, so we're feeling everything. We're reading between the lines. We're listening beyond the words, and we're picking up on the energies. So we're so emotionally intelligent, and we're so aware, and also we're so open. And
Unfortunately.
yeah, right. And that openness is what allows all of that stuff to kind of like filter through, My daughter is 12 and a half. She's almost 13.
Oh,
She's in
bless
seventh grade.
her.
She's going through it.
Mhm.
Homegirl is she's an empath. She's an intuitive. She's she's claircognizant. She's got a few clairs going for her. But she picks up on everyone's energy, and she sees it, and she feels it. And I'm teaching her in real time, like how to what's hers and what's not hers. So why do intuitives, why do we all have like a bully story? I think it's because we're so open, and we're so vulnerable, and we so desperately want to be liked also. We're a little quirky,
I'm also Aquarius. Quirkiness just kind of comes with that.
I'm a Libra. We're all, these air signs, and
Yep.
my daughter is she's Gemini 6 times in her chart. She's Gemini rising and sun and Aquarius moon. She's all air. God bless her.
A trifecta.
But she's gold. She's great. It's just we're just sensitive beings. We're sensitive and we're easy targets, when it comes to bullying. Um,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. You have, these we're old souls, and we've been around for a while, and it's kind of like we're just kind of like, hands in our pockets, and we're like just cruising along. And then you have some anxious young souls that are like know-it-alls, and they're, they want to be heard, they want to be felt, they want to be seen, they want to be, all the things, right? So they're like overriding. And us little empaths and sensitive beings, we're like, okay, and we were like, okay, when we're like 12 and 13, but like as we get older, we're like, no, I'm standing in my power, and then this is who I am, and I'm calling in my high priestess.
Yeah. No, that's funny. I remember when just growing up my whole life, I like couldn't wait to be an adult, but I didn't know why. Because when you're a kid, you don't realize how cushy you have it, right? Like mom and dad take care of everything.
Everything.
You don't have to worry about a single bill. Like,
No.
they take you on vacation. You just have to exist, and it's easy.
Right. And
But
it's like DoorDash, and it's like one button. It's like, I mean, kids have it so easy.
no, it's like, I know, I'm like 30 years later, it's even easier now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, arguably harder in some ways, right? Like I know they deal with some stuff we, in
Right.
the pre-digital age, we didn't deal with.
The digital age of like all of this, like, social media and
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. Oh man, my daughter's only 2 and I'm like, ugh, I can wait a little bit on when she is curious about that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was like I just always had this like inner feeling in me, like I just can't wait to be like out, not even college age, like post college, like doing my own thing, like an independent adult. And I didn't really know why, but perhaps it's like one of those like claircognizant things, like my soul was just knowing that, hey, it gets a little easier with like just accepting who you are, and on this other side when you finally like make it to this time in life. And I wonder if that's what I was feeling all that time.
Absolutely. We were so anxious to get to the other part, right? But like our soul signed up for all of this. We had to experience all of these little things in our childhood, in our teen years, in our 20s.
My soul was like, this is the bad part.
This is the part that's going to make you cringe. But this is also the good part that's going to make you who you are when you're there, as an adult. And I would not be the person I am. I would not be teaching the things that I'm teaching. I would not be able to hold as much emotional space for somebody had I not gone through bullying, the intuition without knowing, like, why am I talking to shadow people? Like the panic, depression, anxiety, I lost a child. I went through a separation after a 10-year relationship. Like there's so much that I went through to get to where I am now. And I would not be this person now had I not gone through all of that. So yes, childhood, teen years, 30s, those were really hard years. Really, really hard years. But those years built me, and they built my soul, and my soul signed up for that and said, okay, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to really, really come back and crawl through the mud and come back again and crawl through the mud, but you're going to get there. And when you get there, you're going to be able to hold space for every single version of you then. And I do now. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty in all of it. And that's
it is amazing. And you can tell you really evolved as a person too, when you can look back at like the highs and the lows of your life and giving gratitude, just as much gratitude for the highs as the lows, because you can see how the lows made you who you are today. Right. Which is like, when I remember when I first heard that, like being thankful for the bad times, that did not resound with me for the longest time. I'm like, no. I hate those times in my life. But then, no, I can fully say, like, not even exaggerating, I can look back at every single, like, you could call negative thing that ever happened to me in my life. And it led me exactly where I am today with the beautiful life that I have, with like the partner that I have and the beautiful family that I have. And I'm like, I wouldn't change a thing about it. If I had to go through that to get where I am today, then I'd do it again,
Right. I mean, you're looking at your bank account, you got $500 and you got like, how am I going to eat? You're like, guess what? I'm going to make pasta 17 different ways. And guess who can make pasta really great? This person right here.
Yeah.
Really good at making like all different variations of everything. My mom's like, how did you become such a good cook? I was like, well, I had no money. So I got really creative.
Oh my God. The Broke Pasta Chef YouTube channel. You could probably monetize that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
That's how that happened.
that's awesome. I want to talk a little bit about, you do have this like really cool 6-week program that's centered around releasing patterns and beliefs that aren't even ours, because there's a lot of beliefs that we have that whether or not you're aware of it, to the listeners, they may or may not have even come from you, which is the crazy thing. So what kinds of patterns are we talking about here, and like kind of what your 6-week program focuses around?
Okay, so the 6-week program that I have, it's called Triggered to Alignment. And we've all been there, right? Where we get so triggered that we are like, something's got to change. And I got to switch something because this isn't right. And this doesn't feel good in my body.
Mm-hmm.
So these patterns that come up are, finding like, the codependency or negative self-talk, or, just getting in your own way, or just not trusting yourself and outsourcing all of your, answers from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Patterns could be not following through on something. So the patterns are just, there's so many of them that the list is long, but it's individualized for every single person that comes through. So this program is very special. It's one-on-one work. I'm going in, we're talking about what is holding you back, what trauma, what patterns, what is that feeling you have in your body that's holding you back all the time. And we go and we do work in that. We work within that. I do energy healing around that. We call in your guides. We do a lot of like this, the woo-woo work in that first couple of weeks. And then I start to teach how to move through it, how to rebuild trust with yourself, how to call in your intuition. And it's not about being psychic. It's about learning how to trust yourself again and coming back to wholeness and stillness. And when you do get back to yourself, when you do feel that wholeness, that connectedness, that trust in your body, you can then start to be in alignment. And when you're in alignment, you start calling in your desires. You start, things start falling into place. It's like, when your energy is at a higher frequency, good things happen, right? So it's like you're walking down the street and you're smiling and you wave to somebody, they're going to smile and wave back. So think of that kind of like with the, when you're smiling and waving at yourself and you're feeling good and you trust yourself, the world's going to smile back at you, and it's going to
give you good energy to keep like that building up, right?
Yeah. You have to give it to yourself. So let's get rid of those patterns. Let's get rid of that trauma, right? We're going to heal it together so that we can come to a place where there is trust, where there is wholeness, where there is that connectedness to, to yourself. Getting back into your intuition, starting to like listen to yourself, and then it will naturally start to be an aligned life. And when you have an aligned life, those desires, those manifestations, right, start to come in.
Yep.
Easy.
Yeah, it is amazing. Like the more work I've even done on myself, the more I can see how things start happening, not to me, but for me, seemingly. It's like, oh, I couldn't have done that better myself. Like, thank you, universe. You just brought me that. It's amazing. So
well,
yeah, I can definitely attest to that.
We'll just go a little personal. It's like what we were talking about there earlier. It's like, I went through a little breakup recently and I was like, crying. I'm like, what just happened? I don't know.
As any normal person would.
Yes. as any normal person would. And then like 2 days later, like everything started like falling into place. And I was like, okay, because I woke up that next morning and I was like, all right, I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to be sad and grieve the breakup because I was sad. But like, no, I trust myself and I trust that there's another person coming for me. I trust that I can hold my own. I trust that, like, I trust. And I feel fulfilled inside already. And we're just going to, whatever, like pull up those bootstraps and keep going.
Yep.
And because of that trust, I'm in alignment. And, like sometimes things have to leave for good things to come in.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to make sense at the time because you have to know that it will eventually, and
right.
Probably sooner rather than later, the less you fight it.
Nothing like it does not have to make sense.
Yep, that's the fun thing. It's like I said it was my very first interview with a podcast guest, Jessica Rachel, was that I remember we were talking about rock bottom moments and like how when you can get to the point where rock bottom moments actually kind of excite you, that's when you're kind of in alignment, right? Like, oh, this really terrible thing that shook my whole foundation just happened. Like, I'm not going to freak out right now because I know that means the universe is actually like aligning something better for me right now. So
100%. My the other day I was like, wait, what's this, like rock bottom is like, is this the rock bottom or is there more to come to the rock bottom?
Yeah, I mean, you never actually know if it's feeling rock bottomy, though. I mean, it's probably a rock bottom, right?
It's like, how do we gauge this rock bottom?
Right. That's so funny. Yeah. So no, trust is huge, right? Trust and we'll talk more about that with intuition here as we kind of go down our conversation here. But one thing that I really want my listeners to understand would be like, how do people end up carrying beliefs that don't actually belong to them? Because some things, again, like I kind of hinted at this earlier, things happen to us. We can probably easily identify like, oh, why you're a procrastinator. Actually, no, I used to be a huge procrastinator and I don't know why. I'm not that way as bad anymore. I'm a little bit more, let's just get this done. I'm pretty good at time management, but like that, for example, I'm like, I have no idea where that would have came from. I feel like I was just born that way. And some things you can identify like, oh, maybe, mother wounds or something like that, or sisterhood wounds, like did this to me. And like, that's why I don't trust people. But how, like, there's a lot of ways you can carry beliefs. And I would love your perspective on like what are all the ways that like you could end up with something installed in your head that doesn't need to be there anymore.
So we can let's start with just let's just be human and not go into the woo.
Good place.
Let's just start here. So we can pick these up as children, right, from our parents, and that's conditioning, right? And now we're picking up ways how we can either feel safe, right? How we can be noticed, right? So maybe we pick up some patterns that help us gain attention, whether it be the right kind or the wrong kind. But either way, we're getting some kind of attention from it. How we feel inside. So, we can pick up some patterns along the way. I'm like, like, does this make me feel good inside? Does it make me feel loved inside? Do I receive love when I act this way? Like, so people who are like over giving, right? And they're giving so much because they find that when they give, they're showing their value and their self-worth. And so that they overgive. So these are all like conditioned, right? So they something that they learned and they got a response that felt good. And so they keep doing it. So that happens. Some are trauma-based. So, they go through a part of trauma. I've had a client, she went through trauma and it was like she wanted to feel as the victim every time. So it was trauma, victim, and then something bad would happen again and she's automatically the victim. And it was like this thing that it kept snowballing. And I worked with her for a while and we got her out of that victim state and we started.
Which is hard to do.
which is really hard to do. But also, I'm not a magician. So she also has to do the work on her end as well, of like releasing that idea of being the victim and being wanting to heal from the trauma. So we work in that way too. And also, we can get back to the woo, it's, a lot of past life stuff carries on with us. So if you're open to hearing and understanding about past lives are just parts of our soul that have lived in different, worlds, realms, dimensions, life, timelines, whatnot. And, we have these characteristics, these personality traits and these experiences in these other lifetimes that do carry over with us. So, just an example, and this is not like a pattern or a trauma, but like this is a trait that carries over. It's like, when, those little kids that are like 2 years old and they're playing like Beethoven and it's like ain't no thing. It's like they're playing chopsticks, but it's like Beethoven's like whatever symphony. And like, so these kids have this memory and ability from a past life. They innately know how to play Beethoven, right? They know how to paint. They know how to have these extraordinary traits.
And we're seeing that a lot more and more all the time. Is what's crazy. Yeah.
So a lot does carry over from other lifetimes too. So when I am doing that work with them in this program, we're going in energetically to, other places too, because we're going to cover it all. It's, is it happening in this life or is it happening in a past life? Mm-hmm. So these traumas and these patterns surface all over the place. Also, we can develop patterns and traumas in our later years too. Like it's not just childhood. Mm-hmm. When we're 20 or 30 or 40, 42, 43, 65, it happens.
I think we forget that a lot, that, just because you're not a kid and like learning how life works, you're always learning how life works.
Always learning.
Why we're here.
You're always learning. Your life can change in the blink of an eye when you least expect it. You could be an adult with a full-time job and a partner and a family and all of the things, and you wake up one morning and your whole life can change in the blink of an eye. And it's really about healing, adapting, and coming back to self, and however that looks like, because life can rock you to your core, but how are you going to come back?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we can look at historical events and just in the last 100, 200 years, just how much crazy stuff happens, and people have to just totally pick up and try again. And thank God for the resilience of those people, because like society can go on and we learn a lot through that. So no, that's a really good point. What about, I bring this up because there's kind of a lot of crazy collective energy right now. What about collective beliefs? How can that affect somebody?
It's knowing what's yours, right? Is going back to that. So knowing what's yours and knowing what's theirs. I don't like to say this out loud all the time because I don't want people to think that I'm ignorant or like avoidant, but I don't watch the news, and I'll get my news in other ways. But
well, if you're empathic, it's tough.
It's tough. I can't watch reality shows either. Like when I'm like listening to people like having full blown arguments, like destroying each other on TV, I'm like, I can't do it.
Well, my sister, she studied film. She actually, because I love reality TV, she actually told me that most of it is scripted and casted, which kind of broke my heart a little bit, but also I'm like, okay, it doesn't make me feel so bad anymore. So maybe that'll help you.
Yeah. When I was in my 20s, I worked in reality TV.
Oh, you did? Okay, I think the original times of reality TV were like actually horrifically reality. You know what I mean?
Right.
They were. Now they're running out of content, so we got to script it now.
Yeah, we do. We got to really like add some flavor to it.
Yeah.
But so with the collective right now, with everything that's going on right now, it's about just acknowledging it, right? And just allowing it to be, and do what you can. And there I love this, is that there's like a job for every soul. And you have these souls that are out there and they are taking care of business, right? They're protesting, they're writing bills and, doing all of these wonderful, beautiful things to help heal and change and correct law and build a better world and do all this different stuff. But I think a lot of people feel useless when they aren't that person. And that's not the case. There's so many souls out there, right? We have our doctors, our lawyers, our grocery, clerks, our accountants, or whoever, right? So we
Some
all
people
have
are
all
here to literally be just a happy person that makes tons of people happy. Like I've heard that before, and that's,
right.
that's
So
great.
with the collective going through all of this, it's understanding it, it's holding space for it, it's being, empathetic, it's having compassion, it's, having emotion, but not fully attaching to it if it's not your job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a mom or a dad or, whomever, a caregiver, whoever you are, let's just focus on the home. And how can I send that energy to my home? And how can I protect my children, my animals, my community, my family, whatever the family looks like?
Mm-hmm.
And let's start there. And that kind of calms that energy down because we're taking care of our core. And then we can move outward and start giving our energy where we can, but knowingly what is ours and what is theirs, and not taking on theirs. Because if we take on theirs, we can't take care of ours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good advice on that. And as you and I were talking, the idea for this episode in the first place is like, that was the last episode I had, a solo episode anyway, was, just being empathic and being out in public. Even how do you protect yourself? Just identifying, like what is actually mine and what does not belong to me. And it'll make a huge difference in your day. So definitely take that.
Huge difference in your day. Can you imagine, like, you go to the store and somebody's mad, and then all of a sudden you're mad, and then you're coming home and you're bringing that anger to your home? Like,
Yeah,
no. It wasn't even your anger, but now you've just affected your whole household. It's like, and everything you came across. So I like to just, when that happens, I like to get into the car, wherever, and you take a breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Set in through the nose, out through the mouth. Do that a few times and just come back to yourself. I'm like, okay, acknowledge that was not my energy, but I hope that person has a better day today.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you throw on your favorite song in the car and get that energy back in your body, dance it out.
No, that's true. It sounds so hokey, but it's true. Like seriously, turn on like your favorite song and just blast it, and the weather's getting nicer, roll down your windows, like whatever you need to do to lift your energy back up again, like do
right.
it.
Call that friend that makes you laugh,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you have to do, shake that energy off.
And be like, you'll never believe what I just saw. And like kind of laugh about it. I love to use humor to like get over stuff, and dark or light, both of it works.
Yeah, we're all trying to get through it. If you think about it this way, we're all these like souls on earth just moving about our day, trying to like, get through the day, and we're doing the best we can. And we just have to support each other and just be like, take the human out, right? We're just souls. And it's like, you know what? You got this. You can do it. Human sucks.
It does. I saw this meme that reminds me. I saw this meme the other day that was like just a person's face just staring like blankly and like kind of like fake smiling. It was like just me being a millennial living through another once in a lifetime historical event. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's just what it. I feel numb to it at this point. I'm like, well, the world's just changing, and apparently I and everybody else living right now is a special enough soul that we needed to be here to anchor the planet during all this crazy stuff. So remember that. If you're here right now, it's because you are special, and we're going through a lot. It's not just like everybody's going through a lot, and it's okay to just kind of acknowledge that for what it is.
We are. It was so funny. I was like at a stoplight the other day, and this woman was losing her mind in her car, and I just like my heart hurt for her because she wasn't yelling to the other guy for whatever he did, she was releasing stuff that was really built up inside of her, and she didn't have an outlet to let that go. And so she took it out on this man. And you could see the pain, and you could hear the pain in her scream and her voice, right? And my heart just hurt for her. And I looked over at this other guy who was watching this argument, and we both looked at each other, and we just knew.
Oh.
And it was nice to have that experience with somebody. We both just saw, we had compassion, and we're like,
real human empathy.
right, she's not crazy. She's not, she doesn't need to settle down. She just wanted to be heard, and she had to release it. And I think that if we all just took a moment, protecting our boundaries and protecting our, respect and peace and stuff like that, but just allowing people to have these moments of like, we don't feel comfortable in our body all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And
it's intense here.
It's intense. And we're all going through something, whether it's $500 in the bank account, whether it's a divorce, whether it's getting laid off, whether it's, I don't know, maybe your in-laws are coming to town, whatever it is.
Are you, I can tell you're psychic. Mine is literally on her way right now. But I'm not upset about it. I'm just saying that's so funny you say that.
But what? I mean, I know that's so random that I would say that, but we don't know what people are going through, and just being able to have I guess that clear sense, right? That intuitive, that compassion, that, I think this is a phrase that's so commonly used, but holding space, but holding space, having compassion, using your intuitive abilities, how can I gauge this? How can I work with this? How can I help them in a way that also protects me?
And not judging them either. Just
not
because
judging.
You could go through something that they're going through and handle it a lot differently and not be as affected. It's everyone needs to remember that their experience is they're going to feel that with all the intensity, and no matter what it is. So whatever you're going through, where you're at, is going to be a 10 out of 10 to somebody else who's going through something you might deem easier to go through. Or even sometimes you can look at what some people go through and it's I could never go through that. Oh. That's so challenging. And they still have a smile on their face. So you just can't really judge people for how they're handling stuff, because it's, you don't you only know your own experience,
Strength comes in so many different forms, Also, we go through, like we talked about earlier, we go through some really hard times in our lives, and we're like, why did that happen? And, it builds strength and character, and it builds, who you are now as a person, but also it connects us too. So what I went through as a child, I witnessed my daughter going through it, and instead of having that PTSD, right, trying to fix it, heal it, whatever, I simply said to her, I've been there before, and it happened.
Which is huge, to be validated.
You're not alone. And if you want to talk about it, I'm here. And, somebody who is losing a parent to cancer, and maybe someone has gone through that too. Their experience is able to hold that compassion in that space for that one person and help them heal through that. They're gifts. We all have these beautiful gifts that we get to offer each other in this lifetime, and it's just about connecting. Ultimately, it's connecting. It's connecting with each other. It's connecting with yourself. It's connecting with your intuition. It's just connecting.
Yep, absolutely. That is the human experience is connection, which has been, it's been a weird 6 years for that, right? With COVID happening and everything. But I think it brought to the forefront just how important connection is, however you experience that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So something I want to ask then is why, intuition is just another muscle we're all born with. You don't even have to be spiritually awakened to experience intuition, because I've experienced intuition my whole life, and only would say just the last 2 years have I been what is called like spiritually awakened, or like starting that process. So why do so many people feel disconnected from their intuition, if that is the case? Like, we're all born with it. So why do so many people like not really, maybe they don't resound with it, or they don't understand it? Like, why is this such a challenging topic?
I think a couple things. One, I think that intuition stopped being a word that, or maybe was never a word that was used in the household, and or in community that they, were brought up in. Or if you are intuitive, right, you're a witch, or you are.
I still hear that all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the coven or whatever. I'm like, oh, for the love of.
Right. Like, and so no one is wanting to really be a part of, intuitive. Like, they're not like, oh, I'm intuitive, and they're walking around, So it's a word that hasn't really been received. And I think there's like a little bit of a disconnect with that. Mm-hmm. And I think once everyone starts to understand and realize that being intuitive is like, it's just one of our traits, right? It's just something that we have, and we all have hair. Well, some people have hair. Most people. But like, like we all have, like we are all built in somewhat the same. And so intuition is just part of that. It's just part of what we have. And I think people put it either like on a pedestal, right? So I don't have it because I'm not gifted, or whatever it is. And somebody else,
like some people that have it gatekeep so that you keep using them.
Right. They gatekeep. They don't want to tell you have it too. So they're like wanting to be, they want to be, special in their own way. But everyone has it, whether you see things before they happen, whether maybe you hear a little whisper, maybe you have just this really clear sense of knowing that something is going to happen, or whether it's a feeling. Or, I love people who are like, oh my gosh, I had this weird taste in my mouth, and it reminded me of this, that, and this, or I could smell something. When I was younger, I used to be able to smell this cigarette that my great grandmother would smoke. And but no one ever, I don't even think they make this cigarette anymore. And it was Benson and Hedges. It was like this long brown cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
But
no, I used to work at a grocery store. We sold tobacco products, and they definitely at that time had Benson and Hedges. It's alive and well.
So, whenever I'd smell it, I knew it was her passing through. But
that happened actually with my grandfather. He passed away in 2006, and for I think my grandma held on to that house for 3 years after. And in their bedroom, even though he wasn't there anymore spraying his cologne, like a random like smell of his cologne would show up. Him just like coming and checking on everybody. We finally realized it's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
How that happens, like their cologne or a cigarette, or just that smell of them. Yeah. Or, it's really great, and people just don't really connect this with intuitive senses, is that past loved ones will come visit us in dreams. And that's another way of seeing them. So
yeah, you're not just dreaming of them. It's literally them visiting you. Yeah, I think that's important to underline, is that like, that's not just you dreaming, that's you having a vision, right? Like,
yeah.
Like a lot of people who think they're not able to see, it's like, nope, you're able to see.
You're able to see. Also, like, have you been like in a car, and all of a sudden the song comes on, and it's the song maybe your past loved one loved so much, or maybe it's a song that reminds you of them, and that's more than likely them playing that song for you in that moment.
I've even, just even more recently for myself in the last 6 months, just when you finally have this realization that the universe always is holding you, always is giving you feedback and talking to you. It's amazing just how like for example, and I haven't shared this with my listeners yet, but I did get laid off. But that's okay. Like I have some exciting things actually in later
Don't
episodes.
worry, everybody. I took care of it. I gave her a reading. She's good.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Yeah. No, things are actually looking really up, and I'm very happy. I'm in a good place. So no worries, everyone. It's
Well,
all good.
remember before it happened, I was like, something feels like it's going to take a left turn, but you're going to get like a little bit of cash. And she's
I
like,
know.
wait, what was that? I'm
I was
like,
like, ew, I'm not getting laid off. And I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. And then literally it was 2 weeks later. I'm like, ah, man. But I also intuitively could like feel it's coming on. Also like traumas and triggers. I've been through this 3 times now. So
yeah,
and this
yeah.
is it's honestly that this is where deep trust for the universe comes in, is like, okay, I guess if that happened, something better must be coming for me. And
That's what we said, and it
it's
is.
already lining up. Like, yeah, it's already going that way. And so it's just amazing. But anyway, when I got this one was an interesting layoff where they actually told us the night before, like in an email. They didn't use the word "you're getting laid off" in the morning, but it was all there. They're like, "Hey, come to this meeting at 8:50 in the morning with your badge and your personal belongings." And I'm like, "Oh, yep, okay, that's what's happening." And I mean, huge company layoff. I mean, there was 25% of the company was impacted, so there were a lot of people all hanging out, and it was a really crazy situation. But anyway, where I'm going with this was, since I knew this was going to happen, uniquely in this situation, I asked my husband and our 2-year-old if, could you drive me to this, because I don't want to go by myself. Like, it was like 25 minutes away is where I was working at. And I didn't want to just like, why go through that alone if you don't have to? So they came with me, and then after everything happened, we went to a diner to just get breakfast because it was early and we hadn't eaten yet. I remember it's still kind of, even if you know what's happening and you still have this trust, it's like the human part of me was just like, man, like this is tough. This kind of sucked.
We get to grieve those. It's just grieving, and
absolutely
you get to grieve it all, and then you let it go, and but the grief is part of the process.
It was so raw. Yeah. I was like, I got to grieve this. I have to. So I'm kind of sitting there, and I was really hungry. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at the menu and I'm like, I'm not very hungry. And so I'm kind of sad, like kind of tearing up looking at this menu. And then all of a sudden in the speakers in this cafe, or this diner we were at, it was this song. It was like, everything's going to be all right. Not like the Bob Marley one, but it was literally like Spirit was talking to me, like, don't like, the song lyrics themselves were literally saying, like, I know it seems bad right now, but everything's going to be just fine on the other side. Yeah. And that actually made me start crying, because I was like, oh, I know that's actually coming from Spirit. That's not just a coincidence, right? So just understanding that there's no such thing as a coincidence, and like everything that feels that way, start to like connect that to like, this is Spirit talking to me. This is the universe talking to me. Yes. And your life will start to feel like you're in a movie all of a sudden. Like everything's orchestrated. It's crazy.
You said something I love. It's not a coincidence. And there's a saying, I don't know if you've heard it. Coincidences are God's fingerprints.
I've never heard that. But
whether you're religious or not, or however you see your God. But yeah, coincidences are God's fingerprints. And I love that so much, because you're just on the right path, and you're listening, and you're open to receiving. And, when we do hear that song, whether it's coincidence or not, it was for you in that moment.
Well, that day was actually weirdly so magical in so many ways. For those of you who are know what angel numbers are and the triple digit numbers, was like, we were there a little early, so we went and grabbed a coffee, and like the total was like 1222, like 222. And then when we went to the diner, I got the bill, and it ended in 888, and like all this stuff of just like just knowing I was like held. Just that was the feeling I was getting. I was like, oh, this is the universe being like, I know this feels really shitty right now, but trust us, we got you. Like, you have to go through this moment for the bigger thing to come through. And like I said, in like real time, I'm getting to see just day by day, like how things are arranging for me in ways that I couldn't have imagined or anticipated, and truly getting me to my next level. So it's like, just trust, just absolutely, like, even if you can't see the end result, because very seldom will you be able to see the end. And don't try to control the how. The less you try to control how you get to your larger life aspirations, the faster things can line up for you. And don't be so scared of change. It's actually, I mean, if you're exactly where you want to be today and you're, I mean, let's be honest, no one is. Like, if you have goals, you're not exactly where you want to be. So things have to change to get you there. And finally, once I accepted that, it's like this kind of stuff doesn't feel so challenging to go through. It's like, yeah, my human still needs to grieve. I'm like, ugh, that's a gut punch. But yeah, no, I just have this trust now that it's changed my life completely. So I'm really glad we brought this up because yeah, it's crazy, but we still, it has to happen.
And we have to let go of things, and things have to let go of us, whether we like it or not, whether it's a job loss, a breakup, or, a loss of, a friend or person. Those things sometimes just have to happen for us to move into the direction that we are going. And we just have to trust the process, as they say, and let go of control. Another thing I wanted to mention, though, is that, a fun game, an intuitive game, is when you ask your guides to show you a sign, or you ask your loved ones to show you a sign.
Yes.
And I remember, like, I had asked, and this is just an example.
I have one after you. So
yes.
So
I was on a walk one day, and I asked my guides, I was like, show me a white balloon if, and I forget what my question was. And show me a white balloon if the answer is yes. I left it alone. I was on a walk. I was like, okay, whatever.
Because the key is to forget about it.
To forget about it. You forget about it.
If you hold on to it, then Spirit's like, no, you can't stop.
No, because then we're trying to control the answer. So we're on, I'm pulling up to Party City, right? Yeah. Looking for the balloon.
And there's a literal balloon with helium that you just let go and it might come back to you,
So I'm like, okay, I'll let go of it and I'll just be in the space. So a couple days later, we're on the beach and my daughter runs up to me and she's like, look, Mom, look what I found. I found this water balloon. She's holding this water balloon in her hand. We're at the beach, right? Yeah. Like, why is there a water balloon at the beach?
Why is there a water balloon at the beach? First of all, a huge pollution issue. No.
I was like, what? And so I look at the balloon and she's holding this white water balloon.
And Spirit does that a lot. They'll act through kids because they know kids will do what they're asking them to do, right? Like,
yeah. She came up to me and I had forgotten about it at first. And I looked at the balloon and then I realized, because I think she actually said it to me. She was like, it's a white water balloon. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is.
In case we were not looking, Mom, this is a white balloon.
Yeah. And I was like, this is my white balloon. So your guides will show you your answer, your sign, whatever you're looking for. They're there. They're with you. They're listening.
Yeah. If you ask, like, just literally talk to them.
Talk to them. Just ask them, hey, am I going to get through this? Show me a sign, right? Do I have a job coming to me in the next, whatever days? I'm asking for help and guidance. Show me a sign. Your sign's not going to come 30 seconds later. Sometimes it does.
Sometimes it will, yeah, but not more often than not. No.
You're like, whoa. That was like a great FedEx delivery right there. But like, sometimes it takes 5 days, 5 business days, and you're waiting for it. But hopefully you're not waiting for it because you've forgotten about it. And then
that's why a lot of specificity in what you're asking for is like helpful to like confirm.
So helpful. Yeah. Don't ask for like, a white coffee cup. Ask for a white coffee cup with maybe an elephant on it, or something.
Like somebody draws a flower on my white coffee cup or, something very specific.
So specific. Mm-hmm. And, your guides will tap you on the shoulder when it's there. You could be walking past a store and you've asked for a turquoise and purple flamingo. And you could be walking by a store and then all of a sudden you feel the urge to turn and look. And then all of a sudden you see this little flamingo tchotchke in the window. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's my purple and whatever color I just said, flamingo.
Yeah. And you can't write it off as coincidence either. It's literally delivering to you what you asked for. So you better say thank you,
You better say thank you. Gotta mind your manners with your guides. They're sensitive too.
They are. They really like appreciate the gratitude, and then they give it back to you like tenfold, right? So never forget to say thank you when they deliver on what you've asked for, even if it doesn't look like. That's why they say be careful what you wish for, because
Yeah.
sometimes they'll deliver exactly what you asked for, but you didn't really articulate it the right way that maybe you meant it. And even if it's what you asked for, say thank you. You know, like they.
Also, gratitude is like gratitude and love are like the highest vibrations, the highest frequency that you can live in.
Yep.
And when you are in that space, when you are in that space of love, when you're in that space of gratitude, that's when the magic starts to flow.
Yeah.
Because your vibration, your energy, your frequency is so high because you're living in that space.
It's
So
amazing.
yes, say thank you, live in love,
Yes.
connect
I
with
know.
your neighbors. Like,
You're out nothing to say it, right? So just say thank you for it all. Yeah, I want to share mine. It was really crazy. This was probably about a year ago when I was kind of in the thick of like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like this is just, I believe in all this like crazy woo woo stuff now, but I'm like, I feel like I've got no validation here. Like I'm a researcher, I'm a scientist, like I'm a proof person. I'm like, I'm feeling real crazy right now. Like, what am I doing with my life? And I remember I was commuting to work and I was like, just talking out loud to my guides because like that's kind of the time I would do it was in my cars. Like if you need something and you can like think stuff to your guides, right? And they'll like hear you. But I've found that it actually, if you want really clear answers to like articulate, like literally speak the words out loud, they're more responsive to that.
yeah.
So I asked for like something like if I'm on the right path and like actually this is all like legitimate and I'm not like just making this up, like I am like, I think I was asking if like I was actually like in a higher timeline than I was because like quantum leaping was kind of a crazy thing. And I'm like, I think I went through that, but I've got no proof. This is nuts. And I asked for it because I had I love Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka and the
Right.
Chocolate Factory is like my favorite movie ever. And so that was the first thing that came to me. I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I will get some kind of very clear reference to Willy Wonka today. And I said today. And I probably shouldn't have put a timetable.
Timeline.
I did. I gave him a timeline. I'm like, I need a Willy Wonka reference. And then it was so silly. I just forgot about it. Went about my day. I was winding down that night, just surfing through Netflix. My husband was getting our daughter down, and I'm kind of like, what am I going to watch? Like I got like an hour before I'm going to go to bed. And I put on like a comedy, like stand-up comedy, which I never do. It's like, I don't watch a lot of stand-up comedy. It was like a John Mulaney one. I won't forget that. And, I was like, it was taking forever for my husband to like get our daughter down. So I'm like halfway through this like stand up already. And out of nowhere, it was like a pretty tasteless joke about like, the Oompa Loompas, we'll just say. I'm like, oh, that's, John Mulaney. But anyway, he like very clearly kind of like dramatically pauses and then he's like Wonka, like he was like doing this like Willy Wonka reference joke, but like it took him a long way to get there. And I'm not kidding you when I say it felt like a bolt of lightning struck my head and
Oh
went
my
all the way through my body.
gosh.
I was like, oh my God, that was my Wonka reference. I was like, okay, whoa. And to be clear, I totally forgot I had like asked for that earlier in the day. So it was like that moment of like, and then I just kind of like looked up at, I don't know, nothing in the sky. And I'm like, thank you. I'm like, message received. Thank you.
That was really fast. Thank you for listening.
And I was like, that was kind of crazy. So anyway, yeah, like, and yeah, I just want to tell the audience, try it. You'll be shocked because it will work like 10 out of 10 times, as long as you release like control the outcome, or like probably don't put a timetable on it like I did. But also I was kind of like, no, you'll do it today. And I believe they would. And then I let it go. But anyway, yeah, I think you'll just be really surprised what actually does come through. And kind of like the more you do it, the more you start to like develop that trust, right?
Right. Well, it's so funny you said that. It was like, you say it and then you let it go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and as an example for the listener is that like you go to a restaurant, right? You're going to order a cheeseburger with cheese, pickles, ketchup, and onion, right? You don't want lettuce. And you tell the waiter, this is my order. And then your waiter goes away. And you go on with conversation, you go on with your day, you're emailing, you're texting, you're having a good time with whomever you're with. You're in your world, right? You're living, and you maybe forgot that you ordered the cheeseburger. I don't know. Like, it's not part of you're not
Yeah.
dwelling.
Like, I put in my order. Now I just sit here.
And now I sit here. And guess what? your burger comes the way you wanted it, the way you ordered it. It shows up. And you know what? Maybe they added like a special sauce to it or something like that you didn't even know that they had. And you're like, this is even better than what I asked for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And or maybe it's exactly what you asked for. But whatever it is, you let it go. You put in your order, you let it go,
You
and it
don't sit there and
arrives.
worry about, man, I hope they remember the patty and the pickles. Like,
Because
no.
you're living in trust that it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come. I mean, like, have you ever gone to a restaurant and you're like, like so, like you're like, oh, she didn't get my order right. Oh, da 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 da, and you're like, you're
Yeah, it's usually when you have that suspicion and you
like,
spiral, then yeah, stuff comes out wrong.
stuff comes out wrong. You're getting somebody else's order. Like
Yeah,
you're walking out with like egg rolls, not French fries. Like, it's like,
exactly.
it's like when you trust and when you just allow it to be, and you know it's gonna come, magic,
It's
magic.
amazing. It really is. It's amazing. Like the human experience through an awakened lens is a game changer. Like just
Love that.
it's amazing. I'm so grateful like to be where I'm at today and to just experience things like through the lens of just this knowing of like, yep, everything that happens is exactly the way it's supposed to be. It just makes life a little bit more fun and magical and cinematic. Like I said, it's like you can't make this stuff up, you know? So
Cool.
okay, Indra. Well, this has been amazing, and I know we're about to record a part 2 of this, where we kind of hinted at it earlier, the clairs of, you talked about like seeing a loved one in a dream. That's like an example of clairvoyance, for example. So, yeah, and Indra and I are going to go deeper on what all the clairs are and how you can start to experience your language of intuition, where you're at today, and maybe even how you can develop into the other clairs in our next episode. But for now, Indra, I want to just say thank you for this amazing conversation on intuition. I really enjoyed my time, and I can't wait for part 2. So stay tuned.
Really exciting. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.